repeat myself. It doesn't get me out. Yeah, it is starting. Okay. So a very good morning to you all. This is me again, Dr. Samah, and this is our this is a continuation of the efforts that we started yesterday. Yesterday it was all about writing, and today also is going to be a bit of both writing and also some grammar geared exercises. As I was saying yesterday, writing is not speaking, and writing is not listening, and writing happens to be a challenging skill for some people. My question before the recording, whether it is doable, it is achievable or not, and the answer to this is, of course, it is, because we're not talking about creative writing where you have to have a talent, and talents are given by God, not acquired. So if it's a skill that is involved, we can develop the skill, of course. So the skill of writing is, developing the skill of writing rather would start when you listen to guidelines or read about them, and then you try your hand, okay, and start, following those guidelines, and then follow that with practice and a great deal of practice. And the result is normally very positive. We get people who start off not knowing how to write a sentence, but they end up writing very beautiful things. Why? Because they have the motivation, they have the willpower to turn themselves around in writing with, of course, our guidance and with our guidelines. Okay. I also said that writing is a journey. It's a nice one. Okay, where you will have a number of stops on the way, and every stop would give you something. You will have something interesting in terms of the what writing means, the different types of writing, whether people would write a small piece and that would be a paragraph, or would they extend the piece and expand on the ideas, and that would be an essay. What goes into an essay anyway? What do we mean by an introduction and then body paragraphs and a conclusion? What do we mean by transition words and phrases and signal words and phrases, right? So these are all issues that we normally address when we talk about writing. And again, writing is enjoyable and interesting because at the end you feel that you have done something, that you now have a skill that you didn't have before. And writing is like all the other skills. It takes practice, a great deal of practice. The more practice you engage in, the better the results. Okay. So what do I have? We're going to start with a refresher, like we always do, and then we make the transition to the writing part that we have today. So let me share what I have. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So, so this is a review on vocabulary and grammar. And I would like you to read what is required and let me know. So what is it that we are asking you to do in this exercise? Listen, the chat is not working, so you will have to react saying things. You have to react using the mic. So, what is required in this exercise?
What is required is in every sentence there is one word which is wrong word,
Yeah,
and you
that's
need to
interesting.
correct it.
Yes, very good. And the reason why this is perhaps new, because I have noticed that people don't read questions well. They got strong impressions about questions, and then they start, of course, answering in a wrong way. So the first thing you need to do is to read the prompt. The question or the question title is very important. Sometimes we call it the prompt. Prompt means that it asks you to do something. So you have to read what it asks you to do very carefully, because your answer is going to heavily depend on what you have understood. So misunderstanding reading the questions shouldn't happen, right? So don't make it hard on yourselves by being negligent, by being a little bit careless when it comes to reading what is really required. So the requirement here is there is one wrong word in each sentence. Okay, find it and correct it. So there is one wrong word in each sentence. So every single sentence has one single wrong word. Very specific. So what is it that is that they want us to do? To find it, to find the word and correct it. So pure and simple. That's cool. Okay, so the first one is done for us. The festival was first celebrated hundreds of years ago. Okay, so why was it? Why did we drop is and we are now using was? Any idea?
Because it's in the past.
Absolutely, because it is a past. Okay, this is Amal.
Yes.
Okay, so when people come to the mic, say your name, Amal, and then you say what you
Amal.
have. Oh, okay, I know, I know. I'm talking to everyone. Okay, let's move to the second one. So the festival takes part on the first Monday of June.
I think takes
So what's the problem with takes?
without S.
So it's a festival, so which is singular, right? Perhaps the does it? It doesn't have to be grammar, by the way. So if
I
you
think
are
it's a
under
part.
excellent, yeah. What is the name?
Selva.
Salwa. So the festival takes
Place.
excellent takes place on the first Monday of June. Thank you so much, Salma or Salwa. Sorry,
Selva, it's said after,
Salwa.
yes.
Okay. Number three, everyone. If you have done one, give other people the chance. And if it takes more than is needed in terms of time, we can always allow you to speak again. So number three, for those who didn't try their luck, the festival takes one day.
Again, number two.
Number two, we don't, I mean, the meaning wouldn't be correct, or it wouldn't mean nothing if we say takes part. So we're going to change takes part and we're going to say take place. Take place means happen or occur. Okay, so it's a meaning error on mistake. Number three, everyone, the festival takes one day.
Can I answer?
Yes.
The festival take one day.
Well, no, we don't have a problem with takes, obviously, if it's in grammar, but obviously it's not grammar that we are interested in.
Okay.
Mm. What do you think, everyone?
The festival has 1 day.
Yeah, if I accept has, I would accept take. The two of them are not very English, if you see what I mean. How about the word last? When I say that the class lasts for 2 hours, last or last.
Last, it makes sense.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. يدوم. Okay. أو يعني يأخذ يعني بس يأخذ in Arabic would mean something different in English. So last would be a more neutral word. So the festival lasts 1 day. Okay, let's move to 4, everyone.
According of the tradition, the event has.
No, we need somebody else, please, quickly. Hello. No volunteers even. Do we say according of or according to? What do you think?
According to.
So it's according to, right? So you're going to drop the of and use to. Excuse me. According to tradition, the event was originally a harvest festival. So when I say harvest, I mean cultivation and crops, fruit, and all these kinds of things. Let's move to 5, everyone. Some people speak that the festival started in the 17th century. Can we have somebody? Okay.
Can I?
Yes, can you?
Some people say that.
Okay, say. So it's not speak, say. You speak a language, right?
Yes.
You say something. And obviously that the festival started in the 17th century is something, right? So some people say, okay. Name, please. What's your name?
Salwa.
Salwa. Okay, let's move to 6. Other people say that it began in the 16th century. What's wrong with that?
Doctor, sit.
No, say is fine.
16th.
Yeah, what do you need here? You need an ordinary number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or you need an ordinal number where you talk about first, second, third, fourth, 16th, 17th, 18th. What do you think? You need an ordinal number, right? So in this case, you're going to add th, 16th, right? Century. القرن الستاشر، السادس عشر. ما بنقولش القرن 6 ولا القرن 16. Do we say القرن 16؟ القرن 16 ولا So it's going to be the 16th, okay? The 16th century. You know what a century is? 100 years, of course. You know what a decade is? Decade is 10 years, right? Okay, let's move to 7, everyone. Special sports events are holding on the day.
Held.
Held, absolutely held. So whenever you have verb to be, and this is a general rule, whenever you have verb to be, which is are here, and you have a verb after it, and the verb has to be one of two things, and you need to decide whether it is ing or past participle. So when do I add ing and when do I add past participle? I add ing if it's present progressive, which it is not, and I add past participle if the sentence is passive. How can I know that the sentence is passive? I go to the subject. If the subject is non-human, for the most part, I'm talking about 80% of the cases. If the subject, which is here special sports events, if the subject is non-human, so in 80% of the cases, the sentence is passive and you would need past participle. So what we have here, are we going to keep it as is using ing because it's a present progressive? Or are we going to check the subject and see whether the subject is human or non-human? What do you think? The subject here is special sports events. Is it human or non-human?
Non-human.
Non-human, okay. So what do you think? Is it progressive or is it passive? Passive means that you have a non-human subject, you have verb to be, and you have the verb in the past participle. So what do we have here? We have two conditions. We have a non-human subject, we have verb to be, right? So let's add the past participle of hold and see whether the sentence will make sense or not. So special sports events are held on the day. What do you think? Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay, this is basically it, held. Okay, 8, everyone?
Can I?
Yes, you can.
In the evening?
Yes, so it's in, what's your name? In
Amal.
Amal, in the evening, so it's not on, right? In the evening, so in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon, there is a big dinner for all the family. Thank you. Let's move to 9 very quickly. Before starting the meal, the family say prayers.
Before starting
Okay, the meal.
meal.
Before starting the meal, the family say prayers. You know, say prayers يعني صلوا يعني يقولوا أدعية. Okay, طيب. I'm sorry, what's your name again? Okay, obviously asking you about your names takes time. طيب, I'll just, يا جماعة, please identify yourself. When you come to the mic, say, I am Fulana. I don't have to ask you. Okay? So again, remember when I told you that whenever you have a conjunction, like before or after or when, okay, and you don't have a subject and you have a verb, okay, you have to turn the verb into its ing form. Why? Because the conjunction before and after is no longer a conjunction. It's a preposition. And normally after prepositions, we use ing. So before starting. Okay? So if you see before, after, or when, and they are followed by a verb, the verb has to turn into ing. Okay? Is there another way of doing it? This is what we're going to listen to from your colleague. Go ahead. You said that you have another answer.
Me?
أنا عارف.
Before they start the meal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. This is exactly what I am saying. What's your name?
Amal.
This is exactly what I am saying, Amal. You either have a full sentence with a subject, and in this case, you're going to say before they start. Okay, obviously you have a pronoun after before, right? Or you have the verb right away, and in this case, you would use ing. Thank you, Amal. So it's one of two ways. It's either before starting the meal, the family say prayers, or before they start the meal, the family say prayers. Okay? 10, 10, 10.
Me.
Okay.
Everyone gives thanks for something. For example, good health.
Absolutely. Okay. Everyone is singular. Okay, that's why it has to have an S. Everyone gives. So people are under the impression that everyone and everybody and each, they are under the impression that these are plural words. No, they are not. Okay, every time you have them, you need singular. So everyone gives. Thank you, Riham. Thank you so much. Okay,
I'm not Riham.
Okay, what's your name? Okay. طيب. So what do we have here? This is another interesting exercise. Okay, let's read it because we have to read what is required and we need to be very careful with what is required. Like I said, we have issues with that now. People don't, obviously they ignore what is required and they answer their own questions. They set questions for themselves and they go about answering them. No, this is not correct. You have to invest the right amount of time on what is required. So what is required is normally is normally a command or is normally in the imperative. بيبقى فعل أمر. Complete, use, صح كده؟ Make. You have three imperative sentences here. Make something, complete something, use something, and make something, right? So what is it that you're going to complete? Complete the text below. Okay, ماشي. Then use a word from the vocabulary box. Okay. Then make any necessary changes. See? Okay. So complete the text below. I would like you to read the text to make sense of what is happening. This is going to be our starting point, and then we take it to the next level and see what is missing, and we can always fill the gaps. Yalla, go ahead. I know that there are gaps, and gaps may stop you from understanding properly, but bear it up and try to understand the whole thing. Try to figure the meaning out from the context, if you still remember. Well, go ahead. I'll give you 2 minutes to read it before we agree on the correct or the right answers. 2 minutes, everyone. Okay, are you done? So what did you understand? So first of all, what kind of writing is it? Would we consider it a paragraph or an essay? What do you think?
Paragraph.
It's a paragraph, right?
Paragraph.
Yes, it's a paragraph. We don't have those gaps and divisions that we're familiar with in essays, right? Okay. So one single idea or different ideas?
One single idea.
One. So it's about what?
Fasting.
It's about fasting, absolutely, right? Nice. Okay. So how many religions are involved here? You have seen how many religions in this text mentioned?
Two.
Two. What are they?
Muslims and
Yeah.
Christian.
Yes. So Islam and Christianity, right? Good. So are we talking about everything in these two religions? Obviously, no, because it's a paragraph, right? The focus is on what? I'm repeating the question, but in a different way, Imam. You're not reacting. Why not? So the focus is on the idea of fasting. How fasting started, right? The origins, usul يعني, of fasting. Okay. Did you find answers for the gaps? We have a number of gaps. How many gaps do we have? Did you check? Can you count them?
7.
Seven gaps. Okay. So can we fill them out together? Yeah, let's do it. So fasting is going without food, right? This is the basic idea that people don't eat, right? So obviously there is more to fasting than just not eating, as you know. So fasting is going without food, and then you have a full stop. Obviously, every major religion has asked its followers to fast, but that goes back to primitive societies. But that goes back to primitive. Did you find an answer for that?
Tradition.
But that tradition goes back to primitive societies. Primitive means very old, right? What would be the opposite of primitive? Hmm. Modern, perhaps. Okay. طيب. Fasting rituals have appeared in all societies. Fasting has two main purposes. Firstly, it before an important event. For example, in some cultures, a child must fast before the coming of age ritual. Okay, so fasting has two main purposes. Firstly, it before an important event.
It happens.
It happens. Okay, it takes place, right? Before an important event. For example, in some cultures, a child must fast before the coming of age ritual. In other cultures, fasting before a hunt. Fasting before a hunt. In other cultures, fasting. Can we use happen again? I think we can. There is obviously nothing wrong with that. Fasting before a hunt or in a war. So we can say fasting happens before a hunt or a
Battle.
battle. Yes, battle. Which is bigger? I'm asking you, which is bigger, a war or a battle?
A war.
A
I
war.
think war.
Yeah, if you have a war, you can have many battles within the same war, right? So war battle is obviously smaller, or is, in other words, battle is part of a war, right? So it is often connected with cleaning of the body. It is often connected with cleaning of the body. What do you think?
Religious.
You mean the religious cleaning of the body?
Mm.
Yeah, it can be. Can we say with the practice of the clean? But so I would need too many that's actually with the religious cleaning of the body. There are two well-known periods of fasting. The Islamic tradition of fasting is still practiced in the Muslim world. What do I need here? What part of speech? Do I need an adjective, a noun, a verb, or an adverb, or a preposition, perhaps? What do you think? What part of speech do I need?
I think preposition.
Yeah, which is what? Very good.
Throughout.
Excellent. Throughout the Muslim world. Thank you. The Christian tradition of fasting during a period called Lent has died out. What do I need here too? Do I need a noun, an adverb, a preposition, or what?
Largely.
Which is an adverb. Very good. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, let me just remind you that yesterday the focus was on descriptive essays, right? And when we say descriptive essays, we need to know what to describe. And we said that you can describe a range of things. You can describe an event, you can describe a place, an animal, you can describe your emotions, you can describe even a human being. And we have taken the example of the grandfather. Somebody wrote an essay on his or her grandfather, and we agreed that it is a well-written essay where there is this sense of organization. Start with an introduction, and then you have development in the body paragraphs, and then a conclusion. I would like you to read this piece of writing and tell me, first of all, whether it is an essay or a paragraph. And if it's an essay, I would like you to tell me what type of essay. And I'll give you choices. So it can be narrative, where somebody is narrating a story or recounting an experience. It can be a reflective essay, where you reflect on something that you have watched or something that has happened to you. It can be persuasive, where you're trying to convince the reader of something, right? So I would like you to read and tell me whether it's an essay or not, and whether it is, descriptive, narrative, or what. Go ahead. You guys have 2 minutes. Go ahead. Okay. So what do you think?
It is essay.
It's an essay. Okay. Right. Good. Let me ask you another question. Is it a creative essay or a non-creative essay? Let me also define what I mean by that. Creative means that we're talking that there is a story that would um, there is it can be a poem, a story, part of a novel, something that has to do with the imagination. Or non-creative means that it's something factual that gives facts and general truth. So what do we have here? Creative or non-creative?
Non-creative.
Non-creative.
Very good, excellent. Okay, okay. So our third question, or our first question was whether it was an essay or a paragraph, and you said it's an essay. So our third question about the type of essay that we have: narrative, descriptive, persuasive, expository, or what? What do you think? Hello. Hello. إيه يا جماعة؟ Can you hear me?
Yes, but
Yes,
what
we
is the
can.
question?
The question is about the type of essay that we are seeing. Is it descriptive or narrative, persuasive, or what?
I think it's descriptive.
Yeah, descriptive, and it has perhaps a sense of exposition to it, where there is also explaining. Okay, we'll settle for descriptive, where there is also description of what people do, Muslims do during that occasion. right? Okay. So what's the occasion? What's the festival, if we can call it a festival?
عيد الفطر.
Eid al-Fitr, absolutely. Nice. Okay. So if it's an essay, it has to have organization where you start with an introduction and then you develop the ideas in the body paragraphs and then you have a conclusion, right? So how many paragraphs do we have?
4 paragraphs.
4 paragraphs. Do we have an introduction?
Yes, we have.
Okay, of course. Of course, it's going to be, and this is intuitive, obviously, badihi. The introduction is how many paragraphs normally?
1 paragraph.
Well, absolutely, yes. And the conclusion is how many paragraphs?
Also 1.
Also
One.
one.
Yes.
Okay, the only thing that has more than 1 paragraph is obviously the development of the ideas, which is in the body paragraphs. That's why we call them body. We don't say body paragraph. We say body paragraphs because we expect the development to run in more than 1 paragraph, right? Okay, good. Normally in the introduction, you have the main idea, of course, and you also have, signals that tell you how the writer is going to go about explaining the main idea or developing the main idea. Right? Do we have that in the introduction? Do we have? Did you know about the main idea from the introduction or from where? In other words, do I need a excuse me? Do I need a title to understand what is required or what is the essay about? Do I need a title? The
Yes,
answer
we
is
need.
no, you don't need a title. Okay? You can read the whole essay and you can figure out what is required. You can read the introduction because in the introduction you have what we call a thesis statement. Thesis means idea. So it's a statement of the thesis, statement of the idea. So somewhere in the introduction you have the main idea. Okay, so I don't need this bad practice of having a title is not helping. Okay, this bad practice of writing introduction and then you write the introduction and then body paragraph 1 and then you write body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2 and then you write body paragraph 2. Conclusion, no, you shouldn't use labels. Okay, you shouldn't use, I don't prefer or recommend titles, and of course you shouldn't use labels in essays. In academic writing, in academic essays, you are not supposed to use headings. Okay, back to my idea. So you understood what the essay is about from the introduction, right? The rest of the essay is development of the idea that you started in the introduction. Okay, so what did you understand from the introduction? You understood that the writer is going to talk about Eid al-Fitr, right? You also understood that he's going to give us details. If he's going to talk about Eid al-Fitr, he's giving us details about Ramadan and stuff. So we expect the rest of the essay to be elaboration and expansion on this single idea, right? So the first body paragraph is what? Can you give it a label? A label means that you tell me what what the writer wanted to say, or what I mean, a word that sums up the idea. What do you think? We're talking now about the body paragraphs, which are number 2 and 3. The essay is 4 paragraphs, and paragraph 2 and 3 are the body paragraphs, right? Why didn't he put them in one single paragraph? Perhaps that would help you answer my question. The second paragraph is what? You need a word or a phrase.
The information from it, we can see he's telling us that Prophet Muhammad, he was celebrating Eid al-Fitr after Ramadan with Sahaba radiallahu anhum.
Okay, جميل. طيب, what's the difference between this paragraph and the next? Why didn't the writer put them together in one paragraph? If you're going to give a name or a title for the second paragraph, what would be it? And if you're going to give a name or a title or a heading for the third paragraph, what would be it? Can we say this, that the second paragraph is the historical background?
Yes.
Yes, right? Because it's all history about how it started, right?
Yeah.
Okay. While the third is different, right? The third is what?
It's for the activity in the first
yes,
day.
what people do during Eid, right? The rituals involved. To pause on the day of the event, they get up early and they dress in their new clothes. They say special prayers, right? They visit each other. They have food, right?
Yes.
Are you getting the idea?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and then we have the conclusion. And if you still remember, I said that normally the conclusion is a variation on the introduction. It's similar to the introduction. Okay, so it's the introduction, but in a different way. Why would the writer repeat himself? Why would he have in the conclusion what he said in the introduction? Because he doesn't want you to forget. Because he knows, he or she, of course, knows that me and you and everybody else have short memories. We cannot remember everything. So that's why sometimes in the conclusion, a rephrasing of the whole thing of the introduction, so that you leave the reading with a full understanding of what took place. Okay. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Can you see where the introduction is? And then the origins, Eid al-Fitr today, the activities and the rituals involved, and then the conclusion. Do we write these labels? Do we give these labels? Do I say introduction, origins, Eid al-Fitr today? Do I say that?
We don't.
No, we don't. Okay. But I should organize it this way. Okay. There is logic. Writing is about logic. is about using your mind. And if you're going to use your mind, you're going to organize things. You don't just put everything together and say, this is the best of all possible essays. I should have taken 10 out of 10. No. Okay, it's not about writing. Okay, so writing is not just about filling the page with ink or typing hundreds of words, right? There is more to writing than just that. Clear, everyone? Okay. Let's take this. I would like you to read this and tell me what you came out with. Again, what type of writing, paragraph or essay? And if it's an essay, what type of essay, descriptive, narrative? Okay. And then we'll talk about other issues. Yeah, go ahead. I'll give you 3 minutes for that. Do we have this young lady, Rihan? No. Okay. Finished? Hello?
I did not finish.
You 1 more minute?
Yes.
How many are we? 15. عائشة رهف زهرة سعود سنة حسين سلوى خديري سليمان سليم. Okay, let's talk about it. Writing. So what type of writing in terms of format? Is it an essay or a paragraph? What do you think?
I think it's essay.
It's an essay. But is it clearly defined as an essay as we have seen in the other essays?
Oh, it's a little bit different.
Yes. So obviously different in a wrong way. I mean, there are, in terms of the graphical interface, if you like, you have to have things on the page that tell people that this is an essay and that it is divided into paragraphs. Okay, so it's an essay that we're in. Okay, so what type of essay is it?
Talking about festival.
No, I need a word. I need a word. You tell me descriptive, narrative, expository, persuasive. So it's a word. And it's none of the types that we have been talking about. It's not narrative.
You can see narrative.
Why are you saying narrative? Means that somebody is telling us a story. Obviously, we don't have a story. So
It's descriptive.
it's descriptive. It has a great deal of description to it, right? It's a descriptive essay, right? So remember when we said that descriptive essays are or describe, they can describe people, places, events, animals, right? Emotions. So what is it that we are describing here? Is it people?
Festival.
It's a festival, which is an event, right? So
yes.
We are describing an event, and the event here is a festival. Where are we? Are we in Saudi Arabia or in Indonesia, where the festival takes place, right? Okay, good. But the writer is, where is the writer from?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Yes, very good. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about the whether there is an introduction, body, paragraphs, and a conclusion. So is it as well organized as the other essays that we have seen?
No.
No. Okay. Right. But the ideas are clear. I can see that Riham is doing a good job when it comes to talking about the events, but she would reconsider how to present and organize them, right? What we're talking about would go under what? Still remember when we spoke about errors, and we said that we have rhetorical suprasegmental errors, and we have segmental or mechanical errors. So what we've been talking about in terms of organization, in terms of what type of essay it is, and that would go under suprasegmental or rhetorical. Into you feel and notice, but you cannot lay your hand on, right? While the mechanical errors are the grammar and the punctuation and the spelling errors, right? So again, we were talking, when we spoke about Rehab's piece of writing, it was all rhetorical. بلاغي حاجات تحسها تلاحظها بس مش كلمة هي اللي بتبقى غلط، بيبقى التنظيم الترتيب. هل relevant الكلام relevant يعني ليه علاقة بالموضوع ولا لا؟ right? The mechanical errors are the grammar and the spelling and the punctuation errors. Right? Are you getting the idea? Okay. So if I ask you about the segmental or the mechanical errors, you would detect the text, detect grammar or spelling or punctuation errors, right? Can we do that? Actually, what I want you to do is that I would like the recording will come out after we finish. I would like you to listen to the recording, and when you come to Reham's piece, and I would like you to start this mechanical errors activity where you spot and detect mechanical errors, okay, and correct them. And then after you finish, you move to the suprasegmental or the rhetorical errors, and you write the whole thing in a perfect way. You write the whole thing. I would like you to read, to write what Reham written, but without, of course, the errors, whether the errors are mechanical or rhetorical. Can we do that? So this is going to be an exercise in editing and proofreading. Can we do that?
Yes, inshallah.
Okay, okay. We'll discuss it tomorrow. So what you need to do is that you again watch the recording, and then when you go to Reham's part, pause and then look at it and detect the errors, take them down, and then rewrite the whole essay in a more organized way. Another thing, of course, you're working on the project that I have given you, the translation project. I can understand that you have formed the groups, you have different groups. I would like you to give me the groups, to give me the group names and the group, the name of the group, the name of the group leader, and the different members of the group. And inshallah, by Sunday, you can always send me the translation. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to stop on this note and with this item. And I'll see you, inshallah, on the group. And in the writing center, we may have a writing center session on Saturday, inshallah. So until then, I wish you all the best. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.